So let's talk about internet job boards. Most of you will already be very familiar with internet job boards. I expect you're probably finding a decline in the quality and volume of applicants and probably an increase in the amount of money you're spending to get that result. That seems to be what I'm hearing from most providers around the world. But it does remain a very popular, if overused, source of care staff. And it's important because it does reach clusters of people that are looking actively for a job, and they will have searched for the term care worker, care assistant, support worker. So we have at least that on our side. They're interested in that particular job. But as a general rule, internet job boards are good for volume, but poor for quality. And in research, we're finding about less than 1% of applicants are going to make it a year in post in a frontline care role coming through this source. You really have to screen, and we'll look at screening later. You really have to screen early and hard to make sure you don't have too many people that are time wasters coming through your recruitment funnel. Multiple applications from people searching for a job mean very limited engagement and research with your organisation. So you may hear when you phone them and actually get through to people, who are you? Did I apply to you? It's not a very good start, is it, for a relationship-centric frontline care worker. So how can we succeed on job boards? They are there, it's important to have a presence. How can we do better? And we already learnt some great advice from Lee Davis in another video about how he would go about changing the wording, changing the call to action and the approach he takes. And I think the key points we should go through again. So download the cheat sheet here of his key messages and recommendations. But I think the main ones are: make sure your headline stands out from all the others. So ask a question, start a conversation with people. You need to use commonly searched for job titles, or they won't come up in a search when people type in for a role they have in mind. So if you have an unusual name for your frontline care staff, an unusual title, try not to use that in the headline. But the main thing is ask a question, try and have some sort of attention-seeking headline, freshen it up in some way, use spaces, exclamations, figures, anything you can do to make it stand out. And very importantly, use non-corporate wording. Be friendly, ask questions, and don't just list demands with lots of "you must do this" and "we only accept that and do not do the other." Sends the wrong message out and puts off most people apart from those who are desperate for a job. The call to action should be really clear. Ideally a named person that you're asking. And phoning is very popular, asking people to pick up the phone and call you, because you want to build that relationship, a personal relationship, as quickly as possible. And also think about advertising in different sections. If you found that you've had successful staff coming from other sectors, beauty, hairdressing, teaching support, veterinary, anywhere you found other existing members of staff have come from, think about placing an advert in those sections as well. You have to use those titles, but perhaps say, fed up with retail, then what have you thought of a career in care? And then you might find you're reaching a different group of people. And of course, with the competition now for internet job boards amongst providers and advertisers, you really have to respond as fast as you can. You have to get on the phone and reach that person almost as soon as they submit their application, because we know they're typically submitting at about 8 at a time, and so providers will be scrambling to reach them. But this is the classic active job seeker source, and so it will always mean wastage, frustration and effort, and I think it's a declining force, but it's very important we maximise what we're doing and get the most we can out of using this source to find staff.